All right, hi and welcome to a brand new Riders Lounge podcast. I am your host for this very lazy Sunday afternoon drive home. Talking about freestyle motocross, a little bit of mountain bike, BMX and scooters for the first time. Who would have thought I'd be talking about that on an FMX podcast? I'm your host, Steve Sommerfeld. If you're listening on Spotify, Google or Apple Podcasts, I actually have recorded this one as a video, which I said I would never do, yet here we are. So this will be on YouTube as well. Anyway, I'm just driving home. We just had the first 2 rounds of competition of Night of the Jumps in Berlin on Friday and Saturday night, and it was huge. I've had very little sleep. Not because I was at the after party, because I didn't get there. I know a fair few of the other guys got there and they had a lot of fun. But I just had way too much work this weekend. And if you probably can't tell, I've completely blown my voice out as well. So I'm kind of struggling on through right now. Speaking of after parties, we're sponsored here on the Riders Lounge podcast by Rawtails 10 and Zepfler, alcohol free. Because we're in motorsports and freestyle motocross. Hey, actually, it probably doesn't matter because we're talking about BMX, mountain bikes and scooters. No motor involved. No, thank you so much to the guys with their 10 and Zepfler and their Ice and Zepfler. Right now, actually, I'm driving home. The sun is just beating down on me and it's actually snowing. I don't know if you can see it through the side window of my van here, but it is snowing. Also it is light, but whatever. So yeah, what did we have? We had Night of the Jumps, 2 competitions. It was the Freestyle of Nations. Team Germany on their home turf up against Spain, the original winners of the very first Freestyle of Nations back in 2014, and Czech Republic back again. And the riders, Spain actually was quite cool. We had the return of Danny Torres from retirement, out for probably 2 or 3 years, I think, from freestyle motocross competition. And he came back after having a full knee replacement, and he threw down, which was awesome to see. Michael Malero, 5-time world champion, of course, always picture perfect, and Mark Pignol, who surprised the hell out of us on Friday night. Czech Republic with Peter Pillart, the captain, of course, and Filip Podmol and Matej Cesak, and Team Germany was Luke Ackermann, Kai Haase, and the wild card, David Ronaldo, filling out the team. Unfortunately, Hannes not there again, so David might as well just become German. He might as well buy a house at the rate we're throwing him in that German team, but we might end up having a new team very soon. Had quite a laugh because Mini, the mechanic, Mini X, wanted to have his own team at the next event. David's all in to try and get David, Ronaldo. I don't know, is he going to dust off Libor Podmol? I think he was like the original to bring, to have Mini on as a mechanic. That'd be interesting. Maybe we can see some Dakar bikes doing backflips, which actually, that would be sick. I'd be happy to see that. So why was I so damn busy? It was gnarly because we brought in BigAirBags for the very first time for the whole competition, and there is a few reasons behind that. And if you've already seen the competition and you're wondering why, 1, I think it's time to see some change. As a fan, I never believed in an airbag. I thought, no way, that doesn't make any sense. As a rider, nope, because I already did the hard work. I crashed my brains out, I've broken my bones. So, you know what? Keep it that way, and that's why FMX is gnarly. But on the other side, man, you can't progress FMX any further, or not much further. You're not going to see very much more progression because everybody's pushed it so damn hard. And that's why we haven't seen a huge amount of progression in the last 10 years. Like, what more can you do without killing everybody? So rider safety is huge. But actually for a certain amount of events that we've got, we have to be in and out of arenas. There are expectations in logistics that we just cannot do with dirt. Like, it usually used to take like 2 or 3 days just to set up dirt. That's 2 or 3 days that you've got to pay arena rentals in the center of capital cities. And you just can't afford it. Otherwise, the ticket price would be $200, $300 per person. Like, it just makes no sense. So logistically, it makes sense. Safety-wise for the rider is absolutely crucial for me. And the best part is, actually, we will see, and we have already seen this weekend, that it worked, that riders are happy to push new tricks, even if they're not absolutely brand new for the sport. Each rider is pushing themselves, and that alone will see progression come. So maybe it's not the biggest trick right now, but if every rider pushes, a rising tide lifts all ships. So that was one big thing. And doing that for the first time, there was quite a lot of pressure, and, you know, having that a lot on my head personally, but talking with our whole team, like, we all agreed that let's do it, let's give this a shot. At least for some events we will have it, not for everything. That's actually the cool part. We will have to have like steel and wood. We'll have to have those landings at some events. We will have to have dirt at some events. We will be able to have all different types of maybe you have one dirt, one scaffolding, one airbag. Maybe it's all dirt and a couple of, maybe those toppers that go over. Like, like when we did Red Bull Dirt Diggers, Luke wanted to go for the first ever double backflip, dirt to dirt. Fuck, the dude could kill himself, so we just threw down a topper, and he had like 2 or 3 pracky jumps to land a couple of doubles, and then took it away the next day. Crashed the first one, but at least he knew he could get the rotation. Maybe you see it like that. So yeah, there's so many opportunities, but still there is that pressure to make sure this works, even though we already know it works. Nitro Circus has been doing this for so long. Travis Pastrana, he took the leap of faith and completely changed things. And it's worked, and people continue to come to the events. We all continue to watch it. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. So it is quite cool that we got to do it. And I want to give a huge shout out to the guys at Nitro. Like, they broke the mold. Everybody shit all over it and said, no, this is shit. I shit all over it. I completely shit all over it at the start. And here I am 5 years later, and it just takes people to break the mold, and people's expectations change. There will be people that hate it, and I completely agree with you why you would. There'll be people that hate that we didn't have it earlier. I'd still be riding if I was on one. Anyway, man, I'm getting way off track. This is 9 minutes. There's only like 10 minutes left that I've got to talk about Night of the Jump. Sorry. All right, so what happened? Friday night, the best part about everything that I just said, the first rider out, I think, was Matej Cesak. Threw down a solid run, young kid from the Czech Republic. Keep your eyes peeled for him in the future. But he put together a solid run. And then the second rider up, Mark Pignol, in training, he's like, I need just a little bit of extra run up on the 9 meter radius, like the Aussie comp style, because I've got a trick that I want to try again, and it's been a long time. So we gave him until the absolute, like basically he was scrubbing his throttle cable or his throttle tube on the wall, trying to get as much run up, hit the ramp, and he went for the California roll. Unfortunately, he was a little bit too excited. It's been 6 years or 5 years since he did it last, and that was in Berlin. And he said he just like reefed back trying to get back on the bike. And as soon as he did that, they think, like obviously Ronaldo's done a lot, and they were looking at the video. They think that's why the front end dropped and he just couldn't get back on the bike. So as soon as he realised, he just threw the bike away. Huge crash. He got caught by the bike on the landing, but he crashed on that airbag and walked away. All right. +1 for the big airbag, because Pignol probably wouldn't have done that trick. Oh, speed camera, awesome. He probably wouldn't have done that trick if it was on dirt with not very much training, because I know he's been doing a lot of shows and he hasn't had much time at home in the foam pit. But he said, yeah, because it was on an airbag, he's like, I think I can give it a shot. I feel comfortable enough. I should be able to get there. So that's sick. The crowd got to see something different. There was a huge crash, so there's a little bit of the blood loss that maybe the crowd comes to watch FMX for anyway. It is an extreme sport. And he walked away and he got back up and he rode best whip and synchro and stuff like that anyway. So that's awesome. But yeah, it was Friday night. It was all about Team Czech Republic. So Matej had a good run, kept it clean, kept it tight. Then in the best whip comp, it's like a joke around where if you win, because it's a teams event, first place gets 100 points, second gets 80, and third gets 65. So you kind of want to win those ones, best whip and synchro. And Matej Cesak, even in Berlin, against Kai Haase, who lives in Berlin, Matej beat Kai from the fans' point of view. So that was pretty crazy, actually. Team Czech, they got some early points on their side. Filip Podmol threw down a solid run. Peter Pillart, again, also super solid. They were probably the most consistent team. And when it came to best trick, I don't know if Germany thought they were going to win this and it was way too easy. So Luke was going to do the two best trick attempts. First jump, he just straight jumped the double flip super kicker and probably felt pretty confident that he was going to land the double flip on the second jump. Unfortunately for him, overcooked the crap out of it and just double flipped the Superman lander, just wheelied off into the wall. Managed to get out of it okay. So Germany got 0 points for the best trick competition in FMX. We also have BMX, mountain bike and scooter. They get to choose one rider that comes in. So those guys actually, for Germany, I think it was David Godziek. He managed to get some points, but when Luke crashed, yeah, that was just like throwing away the win. Like Germany lost on that. And for Spain, actually their mountain bike rider, I think it was Alehandro Bonafe, he crashed both of his jumps. So again, that was 0 for Spain. So Team Czech Republic, I don't know if you guys have ever seen, it was like an Australian ice skater called Stephen Bradbury. And it was in early 2000s at the Winter Olympics, there was this ice skating competition, like a race. And Stephen Bradbury, he was at the end of he was getting beaten by everybody. He was last. And the first skater tripped and fell, wiped out everybody else on the last corner. Bradbury just rolled around and won because he was consistent. He was right there. Basically, Team Czech Republic did the same thing. They were super consistent all night, and they just rolled around. Everybody else fell off, and they took the win. No stress at all. And I think actually actually there probably was a little bit of stress because Podmol landed his first ever double Hart flip in a competition, and it was big too. And he'd only been trading for like 3 weeks, he said. So he won best trick on that, luckily, because everybody else kind of bombed out. And Richard Zelinka, or Riza Zelinka, he won best trick for Czech Republic on a scooter. First time we ever had him at Night of the Jumps. First time we ever had a scooter in the competition, and the dude won best trick. He was sick too. Like, I never really appreciated the scooter kids, and of course, Willie, he's dominated and changed perceptions in the world as well. And now Richard Zelinka, he's got a setup a little bit similar to Willie, maybe a little bit more ghetto, but the dude knows how to ride. So yeah, Team Czech won that one. Coming into the second night of competition, everyone had a pretty long night. Not an after party, but you got to calm down after a competition. Coming into the second comp, Spain obviously wanting to win, but Germany, they were definitely going for it, and Ronaldo was not stuffing around. Like, he was going to throw down big time. So the first 3 riders all looking good again, with Pignol, Matej, and who was the other one? Kai Haza. Yeah, good run from Kai. Actually, Kai was coming back from his huge crash 6 months ago at Royal Hills. Step up, 40 metres. I don't know how big that is in feet anymore, maybe 160 foot. 4th gear, step up, crashed his brains out, broke his femur. He's only been on the bike for 2 weeks, and he's changed from Suzuki to a gas. And he rode pretty damn solid. Then we got into the best whip competition, and again, it looked like it was going to be Matej Cesak probably trying to take down Kai, until Matej's KTM 300 decided to pop the weasel, and man, she just blew. So throughout in the best whip comp, he was just revving the tits off of that thing, and it was just too much for the 300. Just couldn't handle it and blew the top out. So the piston was still in there, but blew the head. They found pieces of KTM splattered all over the place, and then they spent most of their time with brake cleaner and paper towels trying to clean up all the coolant, fuel, I don't know, whatever else was pouring out of that thing. And so, yeah, that one saved the day again for Matej Cesak. Like, he had a huge crash, and of course it was at the worst point of the whip. Like, he was fully whipped and it just popped. So he said it was just like a rock getting thrown through the air. He couldn't control it, so he threw it away, crashed his brains out, but he managed to bounce off of it, off the old BigAirBag again. Bike just cartwheeling off towards the wall. So that's the end of him for that night. He was okay, but yeah, didn't work out too well for Team Czech on that one. Germany got the win, and yeah, then we went into the synchro comp, and Ronaldo was just going nuts. Like, him and Kai Haza were just like hamming it up, something chronic. Like, they did their synchro run, and it was pretty good. Actually, it was good because they won. But what was better was they were just having so much fun, and after their 4 jumps, or however many they're supposed to have, they must have done about 10 or 15 jumps, and the flaggies are like they started soft, like, stop riding, come on, let's get to the ceremony, let's see who won this competition. And it was just all out, like, huge whips on trains, on, side by side, flip combos, upright combos, goon, some really good goon riding from those guys. I think it was Larry Lupau from Ronaldo, Kai Haza, like full drop in the front end, looking like he's just going to cartwheel, do a front flip. And he came up short, which was even better. I don't even know if he tried to do that, but coming up short just made that even better. In the end, the flaggies basically stood in front of the ramp. They're like, stop riding, get out of the way. But you got to see how pumped the riders were. Like, they did not want to stop. And the crowd did not stop. It was awesome. So, yeah, Germany won that one as well. They took the 2 wildcard or the 2 joker wins, getting the 2 rounds of 100 points each. And by the time we got to the halfway point, I ran out the back and I just had a chat to a couple of the riders. And Ronaldo's like, man, I don't even think we need to ride best trick anymore. Like, what's the point? Nobody's going to beat us. So he was obviously feeling cocky and thought they were going to win. Got into the best trick comp and he just went out there. I think he did, I don't even remember. It was only last night, but I don't even remember what trick Ronaldo did for his actual best trick. What I do know was what wasn't counted was a rock solid flip. And actually, that was a big one. That was actually a pretty big rocky flip. Good extension. Not even on a moon booter or next gen ramp, which we will see in the near future. I guess we might see the next gen ramp in Munich, which will be awesome. But yeah, man, it was sick. Didn't even count. And he's just throwing rocky flips out for the crowd. And then they just kept carrying on. Why not? Crowd loved it. Don't stop. Keep it going. So that was kind of it. Actually, there was a few crashes. I'm trying to remember. It saved 4 people. Who was it? Matej Cesak, Mark Pignol. Yeah, Luke's crash on the double flip on the first night. No. What is a 360? How do you really determine if someone's doing a whip flip or a 3-0? And are you leading with your head, which it looked like Malero was leading with his head on it, but it kind of didn't get flat. The bike stayed quite upright, whereas you got guys like Peter Pillar where it looks like he's going for a flip, but then the bike is swinging around like he's coming out of a 360. But then you've got guys like Luke Ackermann who are there, who just has the biggest 3, I think, ever. I think that debate's almost over that Luke's got it. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that. That was cool that we could do those chats and bring up these kind of topics as they're happening right in front of me and as you're watching it live on your screens, wherever you were, on the toilet or in bed or at work. It was just a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, I think, from this event. There's a few more things coming. Like I said, hopefully we'll have the next gen ramp in Munich. So I don't know how many riders have even jumped that ramp. That's going to be interesting. And that'll probably change how things work. Or not how things work, but that'll change a little bit the leaderboard as well, for which riders are able to jump that ramp. Can they utilize it properly? I think the next gen ramp, even though Levi built it to double flip it at 75 foot and front flip it, because we've seen Tom Pages do it, I think even just regular tricks. We saw Jared McNeil at Dirt Diggers send huge whips off of the next gen ramp. Pat Bowden hanging ruler flips off of it like he could just hold it forever. So I think having the next gen will be something really interesting, and how the landing can change for that almost immediately. That's the best part. What else are we going to do in Munich? Oh, actually, probably this is one thing. I'm not going to talk about it just yet because we're still finalizing exactly how this is going to work. But it's 99% the way there. And I had a good chat with all of the riders as well on the weekend, because the points will all be going towards an end of the season championship. So makes sense for the guys to get to Munich, and other riders as well, to build up their points throughout the season. And it won't just be Night of the Jumps. There'll be other competitions as well that points will be all going towards an overall season championship. Not going to say an awful lot right now, but that is probably the most exciting part out of all of this for me personally, because I like seeing competitions over the year. Shows are cool and everything like that, but I don't know. It always just gave me the motivation when I was riding to, just see who's going to get to the end of the year. It doesn't matter. I'm not actually a competitive person. Like, that's kind of the funny part. I like seeing it. I like seeing how it gets other guys motivated to go bigger when otherwise they probably wouldn't. It didn't have that effect on me because I just didn't care. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. So the next Night of the Jumps is in Munich on March the 25th. It's a one-day event. We'll see you there. We'll be doing it all again on YouTube and Facebook. I would probably say jump on YouTube if you can, if you want to join the live chat. That's probably more for the more core freestyle guys and fans who just want to jump on. And like, we even had a couple of interviews on there, and your questions were coming through at the right time that whatever riders were with me could answer questions right there and then, which was pretty sick. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for tuning into the latest Riders Lounge podcast. Share it with your friends, because I think after this weekend, it feels like there's kind of a cooler way to move forward and actually embrace a little bit more of this kind of thing, getting a lot more interaction with you guys as well, to get the fans into FMX way more. So tell your friends. Let's get some more free riders on, motocross riders in, more guys from BMX, mountain bike, scooters. Like, it worked out. It was sick. I'm only a couple of hours now, I think, from home, and I'm going to sleep for a week. See you in Munich.